One of the things I started my company with was doing a marketing plan. And that marketing plan answers all those questions. Where are the possibilities for your organization to go? And you can't be so pigeonholed or blindsided with visors or blinkers or whatever you have on that you can't see beyond what that passion is.
This episode is brought to you by Graham International Consulting and Research, Inc. Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Look no further than Graham International, where we are transforming visions and guiding possibilities. At Graham International, we specialize in providing top-notch consulting and research services tailored to your unique needs. Whether you're looking to innovate, expand, or optimize, our team of experts is here to help you achieve your goals. Don't wait. Contact us today to start transforming your vision into reality. Call us at 631-481-9124 or email us at info@grahamconsultingandresearch.com. Graham International, transforming visions and guiding possibilities. Welcome to Conversations with Verdel Jones. We are about empowering your passion with purpose. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have an awesome guest today. Sitting with us is Dr. Graham, and she is the principal at Graham International Consulting and Research. And she's really built an incredible career empowering business owners and women and just on a personal note, I have to say that Dr. G, as she's affectionately known as, is just a special individual. And she's intelligent, she's supportive, and she is really about the community. So I'm so excited to have you here on Conversations with Verdel Jones. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, and no more special than you are. You know, the work we do, we always talk about it. It takes a special number of us, and it's the same amount of us that are always trying to do the things for the greater good that's bigger than ourselves. So, yeah, I finally get to sit down
I
with
know.
you.
I'm over the moon. I think, I don't even remember the first time that we came in contact, but ever since then, you've always been just one of the genuine, kindest persons that I know. So thank you, and thank you for always just being there. You know, it really means a lot to so many people out there. So, but
You're welcome.
Thank you. But I need to get to know about the things that you are passionate about and the things that you do. So, what inspired you? Because you're definitely a helping person. So, what inspired you, or what was the passion behind having a business strategy that supports others in business?
So I don't even know where to start because we don't have all day, and this will take a while to start. But I want to go. I have to go back. We, you know, like everything else, we've met as people. You know, we say hi and see each other, but when we actually first like really chat and connected, you know, you are also supportive. And for me, you support people who are supportive of you beyond that. But I think it's important because so many people take us for granted and our kindness and the things that we do for the greater good, right? So thank you for being you and for being kind as well. I don't want to go back to the heydays or the tadpole days. You know, like everybody else, when you think about entrepreneurship, many of us either had the bug of, I had the bug a little bit, but wasn't kind of like this, was more like an Airbnb where it could be something where my family members or people who are looking for a job could kind of, you know, have something and be gainfully employed, right? So somewhere along the line it was there. But sort of in the work that I'm doing, and even through my corporate world work, is kind of where I've moonlighted in to be, you know, that management consultant. Most people don't understand what it means. You know, you get the question, and I get it. It's okay. You know, that it's someone who has a lot of various transferable skills that they've honed in on. That is the asset that the value that you're worth. And so one day while doing PhD, one of my committee members who could have been my chair, should have been my chair, just wasn't had too much on a schedule already to be able to do that. And we're talking, and the economy was going kind of crazy, like it is now a little bit, right? And it happened in two different transition of my going through college, right, and in work. And long story short is when I was talking about like there was no need for these under or unemployment things that we're seeing, and for companies to not do well. Right? Through my eyes and my lens, going through school and working, I saw just lots of opportunities, right? So people look at it as a matter of perspective. So he then said, Corrinne, don't you know the job of PhDs to create the economic empowerment? And he's not wrong, and I knew that. But that moment, because was kind of what you would say, even though I knew it, was like the aha moment for me, because I was going through a PhD journey, almost getting close to dissertation. Actually, I had the dissertation and research and so on. And so then I started to think about, then I guess I have to do something about it. Not something I wanted to do, but that's kind of where that started kind of looked. And I think, like anything else, entrepreneurship or just personal professional development, it doesn't always go the way that you want it or think it ought to go. So, yeah, I'll be quiet on that and let you.
Yeah, it takes on different iterations, different forms, right? It, especially with your experience and the outside influences as well, kind of moves you in directions that you might not think that you were even be going in.
So a little bit for me, and pivoting it was one of those academic or academian words that now is the norm. We're like, what was pivot? Why do you want to pivot? But for me, a lot of things were things that I knew. So I didn't fall. I use this term herding a lot more, like going with the norms of certain things. I knew what I knew. And so I try not to fall into the gaps or traps of what are the glitters of sort of things. So it was important to remain focused, but flexibly enough to know that you need to go on to something else.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
So with nearly 2 decades of experience, in the business, corporate type of world and consulting and all of that, what do you think are some of the biggest mistakes that small business owners make when they set out to be whatever it is they want to do in reference to being an entrepreneur?
So one of the things I talk about, and I'm trying to do that more, and it's an education piece, is my fireside chat about key elements of success. And it's important to identify them as you go along your journey. And it's important to identify them soon enough and know that they don't stay the same. So for me, coming again with an operational background, I understood certain things, right? Those same things everyone has to do, whether it's your personal life or your professional life or you're running your company. And those things are, if you don't have the money, how are you going to get the money? If you're selling something, as someone who works with technology and help to commercialize things or products or services, you have to ask who's going to buy it and what are the price they're going to buy it for, right? Those common sort of stuff. Right. So I'm going to say one of the things I started my company with was doing a marketing plan. And that marketing plan answers all those questions. Where are the possibilities for your organization to go? And you can't be so pigeonhole or blindsided with visors or blinkers or whatever you have on that you can't see beyond what that passion is. And I'm going to say this in this way. When we were doing, when we were doing our dissertation, we were picking our topics. I think they asked us to pick like 10, filter down to 5. Do not go with number 1. Why, right? Or number 2, or you'll never get finished. And if you think about it in anything else, you take the midpoint, you will always get 1 all the way down to 10, right? But you have to take something where it is you're not going to be so... And sometimes there's an exception to the rules. You can be so absorbed by something it needs to be for it to come out. And I think a lot of creatives will tell you like they have to be like in that whatever writing or piece they're creating for it to come to what it is. So exceptions to everything. But for the most part, you need that. You need to drill down to who the customer, what it looks like, if that's not the market, where it is, and constantly kind of be looking at that.
Yeah.
And that will help you with a budget as well. Like you can't go, I have a management accounting background. How are you going to spend $5 when you have 0 or 50? And how are you going to pay for it? And all those sort of things. So some basic fundamental things before you can even get into marketing, right? And, authenticity, being authentic, just being a real person. Where are you? Knowing that you can't be everything and everywhere for everyone.
Right. I think that is a struggle for a lot of people, that drilling down, because, and answering those questions, because you do, people have passions and they want to do certain things, but there is so much that needs to happen to be successful. And that, I could see that as being a challenge for sure. So your company offers support in several different industries, right? So you have more than 12 industries. How do you tailor your services for all of those various industries? And you have like from education to sustainability, and so how do you make sure that you're covering those industries?
So I guess in that essence, because I have like core skills of that learning, you always make sure that you're on top of everything that you're doing. Again, networking, we know, right? You have to be out there for people to know what it is you're doing. Folks you've worked with need to know that you have skill sets and want to work with you again. But part of my gift and my talent is the piece that you can say dot, and I can see the possibilities. Hence, or my tagline. Transforming visions into the possibilities. It's nothing more than that. That's what you're doing in everything, every day that you're doing. What is possible, and how do you make that, right, is successful? And success is relative, right? Depending on who and what they're looking for, you make that narrative. That is for the person or team or organization that I'm working with.
So out of those industries, where and you list there's several on. If you go to the website, you'll see there's industries that you work within. What is the sweet spot for you? Is there a particular industry that you gravitate toward, or
no? I'm excited by the possibilities, right?
So you're looking, whatever it is, you're looking for the sweet spot within whichever one, and really applying a lot of the same principles, I would imagine?
Pretty much, right? Okay. Strategies are strategies, and again, your teams are going to be different, and that's important for you. So, mastering some sort of the social skills is kind of key to know what it is you're bringing and what it is that's needed to learn, really learn your team and have that kind of leadership quality that's really big, that makes sure that your team can trust you, and that, you trust them and allow them to be able to be that magic, be great, have the success that they want, not the other way around. It's not about me. I think a lot of us are not humble enough to know that you always have a boss. You work for yourself. There is someone who's paying you. Sure, you have your own company. So I think a lot of my thinking or my thought process also goes back to some of my faith belief, my values or system, to understand there's always something or others, or that's a part of the narrative and the story, and you have to. You kind of have to read like anything else. You're in a game, I might not be able to play chess and dominoes and so on, but you should be able to look at data points and be able to make real decent decisions, whichever way it is. So no sweet spot, and I know people, jack of all, Jill of all trade, and master of all of them. I'm a master of all mine. It just is. I work on them.
You work. What would be one piece of advice you would give somebody who really has a passion, but they don't know how to get started in launching their passion into a business?
So I think if, like what you just asked, and I shared that part about I didn't really have a passion to wanting to start a business, but saw that I could be of value to others. And so when this was said, it's like, And the aha moment. So I think, being intentional about, and being mindful, because you share stuff and people will run with it, but that's okay. Whatever it is that you have, you hear this all the time, I'm sorry if it sounds cliche, but it was given to you and not to someone else. And so I'll go further and say, to thine own self be true, right? Sometimes we're chasing things, we want the money or whatever it is that we're chasing, and it's okay. Be honest with yourself. And so if you're chasing money and you want it quick, you kind of have to follow people or try to put people in your circle that's going to help you to kind of get that, right? You kind of want to have balance because that doesn't last very long. But I think you must also come up with that strategy. So whether it's vision boarding or doing a marketing plan, I think a strong marketing plan, it is painful. It is not pretty and nobody wants to do it, right? And so they work through it. But the marketing plan is like, the next step is that business plan that they put together if they want to pitch it to an investor or to banks or whatever else it is they're looking for.
Right.
So I think just start, and that's the most important piece. Like, go out and find out, pilot it, ask people, fish for information. And you will see what it is they want and at what price. Right. You can only compete for what's in people's pocket.
Right.
Whatever they have that they can give you easily.
Right.
When you win them over, then maybe they'll give you double that amount.
So I'm going to do something that I've never done on the show before. Because I think that you will provide some great information here. So we're going to do like a fast round, right? So, best business advice you've ever received?
Geez, that's hard because I think I've never really gotten business advice. And I think one I would say, if we're going to go back to the beginning, was one of my colleagues who helped me to start that networking process because I was obnoxious and it wasn't whatever it is. Network, go out, finding the small places that you can do the personal bonding and getting to know people and getting to build up the confidence to what it is. So networking, I think, is important to find where you're going. Sorry.
That was good.
Rapid round.
No, that was good. That's all right. One tool or app that you can't live without?
Jeez. One tool or app that I can't live without. I have so many. So I am big on tech to help to automate, and so I do lots of notes. I handwrite notes too, but I do lots of notes.
So
and
notes
calendar.
on the.
Oh yeah,
okay,
you can look at mine. There are lots of notes to follow up in addition to the calendar. I'm the accounting background in me, the backup to the backup to the backup to the backup. But so I'll say notes. I'll say notes.
Word you live by when it comes to success?
I'm going to say words I live by. It's the biggest thing is, again, to thine own self, be true. And then this one is my favorite. One of my favorite is have regards for your name because it will live longer than a pot of gold.
Interesting. I like that. This is the last one. Early bird or night owl when it comes to productivity?
Both.
Oh, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So so you get a client, they reach out to you, and you're going to share how people can reach out to you. What are the first steps that you take with a client, whether it be an individual or a company?
So I work with very few individuals, and that's intentional because I understand small businesses. They don't want to spend the money, and nothing against them wanting to spend the money, right? But they spend it in a way that creates more problem in the long term for them versus the other way. And there are lots of free services out there that they can use. So you have to be intentional wanting to work with me. I'm not going to be whatever, I'm not doing your work for you and so on. So you have to be intentional. I'm a consultant, not hired to do your interim roles and so on. For me, it's just really understanding what is needed. So every work that I take on what you call scope of work, that's where we begin. What is it that you need and what it is that I can help you solve, right? What do you want from me? And once we understand what that is, then we'll work through whichever the dynamics of, and that's part of, what I'm going to do, how we're going to do it, and making sure that whatever team or team members that we need to be. So it really starts for me with that statement of work. And it's important because you have to manage expectations. So I didn't even say that. That's something that is key. It's a big thing for me. We have to be able to manage expectation. I don't read minds, nor do I want to read minds.
Right.
Let's discuss and decide what it is that we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and the check-in of like, okay, this is not happening. Okay, what's next step? How do we go back? Or what do you need to do?
Right, and those check-ins is so important because, as you said, people say they want certain things but don't give you all of the facts or the information, so sometimes you have to go back and reassess what really is going on here.
And I try to stay away from things like that for the most part, too. So, less chaos, the best policy.
So how can businesses that are in need of the strategies that or the support or the consulting that you provide, how can they reach out to you?
So you can go on the website. You can find me a number of ways. I'm on LinkedIn, Dr. Corrinne Graham, or you can go onto our Facebook page, which is Graham International. I know it's long. Consulting and research. It does good for the brain. Practice. It's important. We shortcut too many things. And or Graham International Consulting. Well, Graham consultingandresearch.com.
All right. Thank you so much. Before I let you go, I do have to mention that you also are the CEO of Designs by Dr. G.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that because it's a sustainable lifestyle brand. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
And you also give some of the sales to charity.
Yes.
So I wanted to make sure that everybody knew about that. I know we didn't talk about that, but I wanted to make sure that everybody knew. So tell people how they can find your products and use those as well.
That's easy one and short one. Designs with the S, by BYDRG. So you'll find it on IG and you'll find it on the website. And yes, we do a percentage of the proceed to give back to, I prefer the smaller not-for-profits. I do give to everyone, but I know that a lot of times the smaller CBOs need a little bit more help, and they do a lot of work, and it's hard, a little harder to get those fundings. So thank you for mentioning that.
Absolutely, and they're great products. One of my favorites is the makeup remover. I love that.
I'm wearing one of the shirts too.
Nice,
and it's the lipstick. Whoops, my mic. Sorry.
I want to thank you, Dr. G, for being on Conversations with Verdel Jones. It's always a pleasure when I'm in your presence. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
And again, if you need more information about Dr. Graham and all of the wonderful things that she provides, please make sure you reach out to her. I want to thank everybody for watching Conversations with Verdel Jones. And remember, in the words of Maya Angelou, when you learn, teach, and when you get, give. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and follow us on social media so you will never miss an episode.